Hello and welcome to That Sounds Like a Movie. Today we have a special guest, Nick DeLaurentis, right? I'm correct. All right, sweet. I'm good with that. And you are with Region Music, right?
Correct.
Correct.
My wife and I started it back right around the time of COVID when musicians weren't working.
Yeah.
We put together a page, and I've since learned that there's been several other pages out in Facebook for years. Some people came and went with some of those pages, but we did this kind of independent of that. We didn't know about it and set it up just to kind of help advertise our friends performing when they were starting to come back after COVID lockdown and everybody was getting back out there. We created it, I think it's just over 3 years old now. So,
that's awesome.
2020, 2021, somewhere in that range. Yep.
And when do you think, did you develop it when, COVID was going around, or, did you think about it, beforehand and it kind of just happened?
It kind of came out of, it actually came out of, we go to Dunkin' every morning, every Saturday morning. And so my wife and I would just do a little selfie at Dunkin' with our cups and post a picture. And then I wanted to learn how to use Photoshop. I've never used Photoshop. I'm 50-something years old. I figured I'd learn some skills, so I got Photoshop on my phone. And I started, as my friends were performing, I'll take a picture of this person and I'll put it in the Dunkin' photo with us. And then I started adding a couple people, and then it turned into, an average Saturday or Sunday coming out of COVID was only about 5 or 6 people playing.
Yeah.
Now it's 30, 40 different acts that are performing on any given Friday or Saturday. So I stopped Photoshopping because that was taking me hours to do every day. So, but yeah, it came out of COVID, and we were just sitting at Dunkin', and I was playing on my phone with my wife, and I just started goofing around and putting people's pictures in there, and then put their name and their time of their show in there. And then it turned into this whole page. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
It's a fun little interesting spin-off of something.
It wasn't a
normal.
Business model. We weren't sitting around saying, what can we do? No, it just kind of happened organically.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So how long have you really I'm assuming that you really like music if you're going to start music.
I do. I enjoy music.
So what do you think started your love of music then? Was it from a young age?
That's a hard one. I'm from an Italian family, and I'm familiar with all the traditional Italian music and all that, and we would hear it in the backgrounds, when I was a little kid growing up, and the family parties. And back when I was a kid, we didn't have iPods or iPhones or anything like that. You had cassette tapes or 8-tracks, and we didn't have portable.
Yeah.
We weren't. So you were at home, or you were in a garage, or somewhere where there was music. And I had this little Happy Days Fonzie AM/FM radio, and I would sit there in my bedroom, and I would put that in my bed at night. And when I was trying to go to sleep, I had some problems sleeping sometimes, so I would listen to music, and I just started picking up on things. But then I got into middle school, high school, and started my first cassette tape I ever bought was Van Halen, 1984.
Awesome.
So that was one of my first tapes, and then I've got somewhat of an obsessive compulsive behavior.
Yeah.
So I got all their tapes. I got all the Led Zeppelin tapes, and I collected everything.
That's really funny. That's what happened to me. In middle school, I did that with the Beatles. I know that's it's a little different, but I knew a bunch of Beatles.
You
facts.
probably know more than I do. I always joke about that. I'm not a big Beatles fan, but
I know, but
I'm familiar with it.
It was my one niche. I was oh yes, I know everything about the Beatles, and that's what really started my love of music.
So were you in the barn last weekend for the Mega Beatles?
I was not.
Was that no? That was family friendly. So that was family friendly.
I was not.
Yeah. Have you ever had a chance to see them?
I haven't seen them.
I would encourage you to do that. Yeah.
I will. I'll have to check them out and see them. You were in what?
He was here last week.
Yeah. Well then, missed my opportunity to just talk about the Beatles.
Yeah, I will check in with him and see if he sees you out in the crowd ever.
Well, since that sounds like a movie, what would be some of your favorite movies?
Well, we were kind of chatting before the show, but my all-time favorite movies are Star Wars. I'm a big, huge Star Wars fan.
Huge Star Wars fan.
I like the mob movies. I like lots of different genres of movies.
Like Martin Scorsese type movies?
What's that?
Martin Scorsese, that genre?
Yes, Martin Scorsese.
It's all my hot takes.
All right.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, no. All right. Well, so what do you like about Star Wars? Let's just dive into some movies, I guess.
I was 8 years old, and again, technology was different back then, and it was revolutionary when we first saw it. It was mind-blowing. Everybody at grade school was talking about it. We used to have to mail away for action figures, like the little plastic toys. You had to collect. I don't know if you had some things you had to collect certain box tops or whatever to send away for. You had to order them through the mail. You had to wait 6 to 8 weeks to get them. And there's none of this instant
Yeah.
Amazon world that we live in today. So that was kind of, as a kid of 8 years old, 7, 8 years old, that was what we were. We were just. It was a new thing to do. We were all playing with action figures, and we'd sit around and act out the movie with the little toys and stuff. And so it was at the right age for me. Shameless plug, my wife's birthday is May 25th, which is the day that Star Wars was released in 1987 or 1977. So that's where she went for her 8th birthday, as she was
That's
waiting
so
in line
cool.
for the movie when it first came out. So, but yeah, it was just playing with your friends and hanging out and talking about things, and then wanting more, and not having movies on demand, and not having the ability to stream it whenever you wanted to. It was like they would play it at holidays too. I think around Thanksgiving they would play it on TV one time. And you had to be there to watch it.
Did you ever watch like the holiday special of Star
I
Wars?
did, and I've recently gone back and watched that again.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a funny story about that. And actually, my dad went to go show like me and my little sister like a while ago, and then like I don't know what happened. I think we finished it, and then like it was still on there when he turned off the TV, because I think we just watched it on like YouTube, because I don't know if we couldn't find it or something. And like all of a sudden, in like the middle of the night, it started like playing, like it like turned the TV on, and it was at the point where it's just like Chewbacca's family when they're just when they're just making a bunch of noises. So my dad went downstairs and he was just like, "What's happening?" And it was like midnight, and it's just like making like random noises.
Yeah.
Because of the holiday special.
Yep. Have you ever seen Harrison Ford's take on that whole thing? He hates talking about it. So whenever an interviewer brings it up, so weren't you in the holiday special? And he just starts looking. He's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. So very embarrassing for the actors, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like you're just like, Like and like they all just look weird. Like you could tell it was just like a random special. It was just funny. Yeah. Okay, but now to my hot take. Since you were like a kid when like Boba Fett was a thing, do you really like Boba Fett?
Boba Fett is one of my all-time favorites. Yes. Well, it was. I actually have the helmet and the little gun, and I don't say I do cosplay because I'm not real. I don't get all into it.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things I've told my wife is are you familiar with the 501st Legion?
Yeah.
The people that dress up? Yeah. So I said, once I'm retired and I have more time on my hands, I said, I may want to get into doing that. And she's like, well, yeah, she's just be careful with that. We don't need to have the house full of gear and everything for all these things. But no, I really just have enjoyed. That's one of my favorite characters. So you hit the nail on the head. Darth Vader. Is the love-hate. As you were a kid, you're scared and intimidated by him. He was the bad guy.
I love Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite characters.
He's like one of my favorite villains.
Yep.
But, okay. Well, we'll get back on my hot takes then. And we'll go to, speaking of Star Wars, we'll go to the Cantina Band song.
Okay.
Which, if you know that song, like, I actually like it. Like, I play it, like my dad has it on a Halloween mix and stuff like that, so it plays all the time. So, this is going to be the Cantina Band from Star Wars.
Okay.
that was Cantina Band by John Williams, actually. I remembered the guy who actually wrote them, this time. He wrote most of it, actually, like, most of, like, the Duel of Fates and, like, the Imperial March and stuff like that, which would be cool. Like, imagine, like, saying that you could do that. Like,
he's done that. He's done Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's done so many movies that he's got his fingers on with his music.
That'd be so impressive to be like, oh, yeah, well, you know, I wrote all these songs in, like, these most famous movies. Like, those would be cool.
Yeah.
But, okay, now we can go to my hot takes on how you'll probably get mad at me a little bit.
Uh-oh.
How do I word this? Okay, I'll tell you my opinion on Star Wars, I guess, first.
Oh, boy.
I like Star Wars. Like, I genuinely do. I do like Star Wars. Like, I've watched almost every piece of media that I could. Like, I've watched Clone Wars. I've watched... Oh, yeah. Okay, but anyway. But, I guess if people agree with me or with Nick, you can comment down below and see who's actually right, because then...
Oh, I'm right.
Oh, yeah?
I'm
okay.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay. See,
I don't
like
even
Star
know what the
Wars.
question
Okay,
is, and I know I'm
not-
right. Yes.
It's not like a bad thing. I like Star Wars. It's just...
Okay.
I feel like Star Wars is like a good concept, and a lot of it is delivered very poorly. Like, that's like my wrapped up version of it.
It is delivered through the eyes of a child, and it's simplified down for children to understand. But it is truly, if you think about what it's about.
No, exactly.
It's
like, I love
good
the
versus evil.
Yeah.
It's very religious overtones to your beliefs and the Force. What is the Force? And so it's a very deep conversation if you want to get into that one. But it's, but yes, it's constructed in a manner in which it connects to children. And that's always what George Lucas was focused on, is keeping the kids involved. I don't know that some people say it was evil and maniacal because he was selling toys and making millions of dollars off of them. But it worked to get them involved. But then the parents who saw these as a kid, like right now, all of my kids went and saw these movies in the theaters when they were first coming out with their dad who saw the originals. And it's a family thing. It brings us all together. So you can't speak to the adults. You can't, leave the kids out of it. So, yes, I agree with you that the dialogue, Anakin especially.
Yeah, did you like Hayden Christensen's acting? I know that Owen out there really likes Anakin, and he's like, he defends Hayden Christensen, but like who plays Padme? Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman
has like won awards for like a romance like stuff, and then, like,
that was uncomfortable. It was a little bit
the
uncomfortable.
pear scene.
Yeah,
I always love to bring up the pear scene, or like the sand scene when he was like, "I killed them all."
Yes.
Like, it's always great. I quote that on like a daily basis. I'm always like, oh no, the women, like, it's like, some of the acting was interesting.
Well, even if you think about Darth Vader too, when he's Darth Vader, some of the lines are, "Now I will destroy you."
Exactly.
He's always talking.
And he falls to his knees and he's like, no.
Yes, it's a lot of overacting and a lot of drama,
exactly.
and yes, but it's. I don't enjoy it for its Academy Award performances. I enjoy it for the story.
I agree with that. Like, I enjoy the like ideas of Star Wars and like how I can like take it and be like, oh my god, this would be super cool if like blah 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 happens. But like, I always feel like they always like, I feel like they like move forward and they're like really good, and then something happens and it like sets them back, and I'm like, oh man, like, because I feel like. Did you watch, like, have you been watching some of, like, the shows and stuff like that,
Oh,
too?
absolutely.
Yeah. Have you watched, like, the cartoons, too?
There's this, so, like, Bad Batch, yes. When you say cartoons, that's, my wife has a soft spot with this, too, is that she's like, oh, we're watching cartoons again tonight. Great. You know.
No, I love watching cartoons.
I watch those, but there's some of the ones that were made for, like, the little kids, and I don't watch those.
Yeah, no, I don't watch this. Normally, like, I'll watch, like I actually grew up watching the Clone Wars. Like, that's like how I start. Okay, this is where everybody hates me. Okay, and this isn't my fault. It's my dad's fault. So come after him. Okay, because so the way I watched Star Wars was wrong necessarily. I watched it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh boy.
Okay, but the reason was because I watched Clone Wars. So like my dad was like concerned that if I was like. I knew too much to, like, watch, like, 4, 5, 6, and then, like, go back. Like, I knew who Anakin and, like, Obi-Wan was, and I would be, like, and I was, like, 10, and I'd be, like, well, why is Obi-Wan old? Like, why is Anakin back? Like, I would be confused, and then it would kind of, like, give it away. I'd be like, that was his thinking. But I couldn't control that. I didn't, so don't hate me for it. But like, I just.
Well, yeah, it's a product of your age group and your time, and so yes, things were coming out
Exactly.
that we didn't have.
Yeah.
There were a lot of novels and books and stuff. So even after the first trilogy, there was a lot of reading and a lot of stuff that filled in the blanks for me. And I was eagerly awaiting the original trilogy that they just did, and that's because I got to finally see. I'm a visual person, and I love seeing movies, and I'm not as big of a reader as my wife is, but I love seeing it play out in front of me. And so that was really exciting for me when I first saw it. But I understand your point.
Yeah.
Yes, you've seen it out of order.
Yeah,
So,
I've seen it out of order.
Yep.
Oh yeah, but so then like, what are your thoughts on like the latest three and like how it's technically not George Lucas? And he kind of sold it to Disney. Do you think that was like a he was just like an opt out, or you think that was smart of him, or you think that it was like dumb of him? Because I get it, like it was smart for him for his like business. And
I
his
don't think any of
finances.
us can tell you if it's smart for him or not.
I mean, yeah,
He made billions off of
true.
this, and
Exactly.
he was done. He's involved, but he's not as involved as he had to be when he was doing all these other movies. So he was at a point in his life, and I'm getting close to that point in my life too, where I've worked for my company for 30 years, and I love what they've done for me, but I don't want to do this forever.
Yeah.
So I want to spend more time listening to live music.
That's
Uh-huh.
true.
You see how that was my hot take? Did you see what I did there?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, but no, I always thought that like I felt like you'd always like opt out of things. Did you ever hear the story about how he hid away in Hawaii for the first?
When the first one came out. Yeah.
He was so scared.
Have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis, the Wise?
No. What?
Oh, that's from episode 3. Shame on you. Go home. You have homework.
I do have homework.
That's Emperor Palpatine talking about the dark side. That's when he at the opera. That was his line. So
Interesting.
homework.
I have to go do my homework now.
See, he's writing it down. You're going to get graded on this.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we move on from Star Wars, I guess my one final take that you'll probably be very mad about is that I don't like Boba Fett. Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Which version of
so
Boba Fett don't you
sorry.
like? Because I've met every actor that's played Boba Fett.
I don't like Boba Fett as like a character. Yeah. He just, I'm so, okay, like, I don't understand.
He's just a simple man trying to make his way in the universe.
But no, he's not. Like he just, like, I feel like his character just, like, okay, I understand, like, he looked cool. Like, I understand. So I feel like kids, like, gravitated towards him. And then, like, as kids grew up, like, his character, like, grew up more. So I understand, like, I guess my favorite like iteration of his character is like the newest one in the Boba Fett like show.
Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, the Book of Boba Fett. But I think like I don't know, like I understand like if people would really like Jango Fett because he was like the original clone or something like that. But,
Jango was annoying. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Like,
but Boba was annoying when you first saw him as a little boy.
Yeah, he was. He was like
But
Dad.
if you understand where his, he saw his dad's head taken off by a Jedi, so he's got his point of view, right?
I get it, but like,
yeah.
But especially at first, like people like love him, and I'm always like,
Okay, do you understand where these characters came out of? Do you know what George Lucas kind of did? A lot of this is off the spaghetti westerns. A lot of these characters are based off of Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
And Cad Bane, if you're familiar with Cad Bane, he's got the 6 shooters on his hip, and he's got the big brim hat. He looks like Clint Eastwood standing there with the cigar coming out of his mouth.
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah.
cool. I do like that sense of Star. Like I do like I'm not one of those people who like didn't watch The Mandalorian because it doesn't have as many lightsabers or something. But I liked The Mandalorian. I think that was like a really like good thing for.
It was amazing.
Star Wars.
Yep.
And I think they look cool. Like I always liked the because I watched I don't know if you watched it was the oh my god I'm blanking.
If it's Star Wars, the answer is probably yes.
Okay, but it was it was the cartoon that wasn't Clone Wars, but it was the one with like Ezra and
Rebels.
Yeah, Rebels.
Yep.
Like,
Watched all those.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like I always liked like Sabine's story and like with like all the Mandalorians, and that was cool and stuff like that. Like that's what I always liked as a kid. Like,
and now she's live action.
And now she's live action. Though that's what's cool about with Star Wars actually is that they like keep transferring it.
Did you know Hera Syndulla is actually Ian McGregor's wife.
I did know that. And she plays Ramona Flowers in Scott
Yeah.
Pilgrim, one of my favorite movies,
Yeah.
actually.
You want to go toe to toe on trivia?
I
Let's
know.
go.
I mean, like, this random fact. All right. But now, after we can get more into like the musical side, after our next song, which is a song that I actually picked out for our original Star Wars talk, as one of like the Cantina bands. Like, I feel like this should be played if like there needs to be a soundtrack for Star Wars. I feel like it would be fitting. So this is going to be "The Killing Moon" by Echo and the Bunnymen.
Okay.
Welcome back. That was The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen. That was actually in Donnie Darko for my little interesting movie fact of the day, because that sounds like a movie without movies. But this normally is where we would go like to a commercial break, but because we're having our such like actually fun conversations and stuff like that, Region Media has given the next 30 minutes of commercial free. So oh my God, I keep saying that. It's Mr. Jennings.
It's PC3 Media.
It's because of him. Music. But it's Region Music, as we can see. Maybe I just need like my sign. I don't know why I can't speak. But, it's okay. I've just been wired, I guess. But so no more commercials, I guess. But now time to talk about music and what's been going on in the region.
All right.
What's up?
So first, let me start off by saying I have absolutely no musical talent whatsoever, and many of the performers of the area, I've gotten up on microphones with them before, and they all will now, whenever they see me stand up, no, Nick, sit down. Yeah. I have no talent, no skills. I've been, one of my friends, Aaron Harris, tried to teach me guitar. I got guitar lessons from another friend for my 50th birthday, and Aaron, I think, spent 2 days with me, and then I think he went insane temporarily and had to go rethink his life. But no, I can't. I'm a lefty too, so strumming and everything. I just don't have the hand-eye coordination for that, and vocally, I'm terrible. I'm terrible. My wife will attest to that. Let's see who, Nicole Garza will attest to that. Taylor Garrison will attest to that. Everybody will attest to that I've ever grabbed a mic from, and they're like, nope, no more.
Like so, you can't do it.
Nicole's a good teacher.
She's a great teacher, and yet some clay is just dried out so much that, and I'm a former smoker and years of smoking and all that. I said, my vocal cords, this is not the time to try to train my voice now. So I've done enough damage, but no. So my interest kind of peaked out of. I'm married to Chris, my wife, and Chris and I have both been married before. So we were on our second marriage together. And for whatever reason it was, one of the things we really enjoyed doing is we would go out on dates. We would go to this bar or restaurant or whatever, and then there would be music playing, and we started gravitating towards that. And so on our dates, many of the times on the weekends, we spend 2 or 3 nights in a bar, restaurant, or a venue watching live music. And so every weekend we kind of plan it out. And so this is kind of the evolution of what we did. My wife is the organized one. I am the scatterbrained. Let's go and let's just do this and let's do that. But to the other side of that, I am also a planner too when it comes to my work and my business and travel. I work for State Farm in Bloomington, Illinois, so I'm on the road a lot and traveling. So I'm living out of a suitcase, have to know where I'm going to be at all times. She would keep like events on her phone. She would like them or whatever on Facebook to put them on her calendar. And then she would pull up her calendar and see what was planned. And she would say, well, so-and-so's here, and so-and-so's here, and so-and-so's here. Who do you want to go see? Okay. And then we would go make our plans, and this is a pitch for some of the places we go, is that we like food, too. We like to eat dinner and listen to live music. So some of the places we would gravitate to were the places that had really good food, or we knew that we liked the meals here or the meals there. Or we'd start early at a place that had food and maybe some live music at 6 o'clock. And then we knew we would go to some other place at 8 o'clock, and after we're done, we would hit a couple of places. So anybody that follows us on there or friends of mine on Facebook see the stop 1, stop 2. Yeah. And that's where we kind of would post, hey, here we're seeing, I'll plug one of your past guests from last week here, Chad Clifford. So sometimes we'll go see Chad at Catch Table and Top, and sometimes we'll go see his full band. He plays at a lot of places that we go to all the time. So. So we'll check in at those places and say, oh, you stop 1 with this band and stop 2 with that band. And it all comes together with what we talked about a little bit earlier, is that keeping track of that information. My wife has built a list on our phones that we share, and she builds the list throughout the week. So whenever anybody sees my face, I'm the face man. Yeah. She's the brains. She's the brains of the operation. So I'm doing the one that's shameless. I'm like a teenage girl. Yeah. I like to put pictures up and take selfies and all that stuff. And I'm always posting things, so everybody thinks I'm doing it all. Yeah. And I always make sure whenever anybody introduces themselves to me and says, thank you for all you're doing, I'm like, that lady right there. She's the one that does all the hard work. I'm the one that does the marketing, if you will, the pimping of it. Yeah. If I can say that on a But yeah, so it's where that kind of all came from. And so when what I told you earlier kind of grew out of the couple of people playing into, hey, let's keep track of everything that's playing.
Yeah.
And then people started coming to us and saying, hey, how can I get my stuff on your page? And so we are a private Facebook group. So for anybody listening, if you want to join Region Music, you have to request to join the group. It's a private group. And we do that for a couple of reasons, is we wanted full control of who's in there, what they're doing, and we don't want to be found by people in, no offense, but a foreign country or whatever, that's never going to come see live music in Northwest Indiana. So they have no business being in there and polluting up our stuff and starting to take people's names and phone numbers and sell stuff to them. And because that happens in those groups sometimes. So we have limited it to people that live in the region. And I'm proud to say, I think as of today or yesterday, we're at 8,300 people that have joined our group. So so for being private, that's pretty darn cool. Because some people struggle with not even being able to find it. And you have to get referred in, or somebody will tell you, hey, go to this page and request it. So I've kind of gone off on a tangent myself here, but is there something you want to lean towards?
I do. So like, where would you go? Like, what are some of your like spots that like? Do you have like certain ones that you like know you're gonna hit? Or
I have relationships with a lot of people in the area. I do have certain places I like to go just because it feels like home to me. But I don't, and this is in no way an endorsement of any one venue. It is, I go to a lot of places. I was at Off Square Brewing last night. Chad Clifford, the other Chad, I always get these, we always do this. Chad Burton was playing there, and so Nicole, his wife was out there. My wife and Nicole and my wife and Taylor Garrison are good friends, so we always try to get together. And shout out to Taylor, who's going through surgery today. God bless you. You're going to make it fine. She's going to be back. So she's a singer for Dick Diamond. She's going to be taking a 2-week or so hiatus. She had some surgery that she needed to do for her lungs, so we all been thinking about her. But anyway, so we go out to these venues. So some of the places I like to go, there's categories. Okay, so as I said, for meals, things like that. We used to go to Chow Bella a lot. We love Chow Bella's food. We go to my friend Beaver Lopez and Phil Reiner, or Beaver and Aaron Harris play at Jalapenos a lot. We used to go to Jalapenos a lot to see them. So we love the food there. And who doesn't like Mexican food? I mean, let's be honest. So so we love going out there. And then Northwoods is another place that we go to. Got several friends that work there. So they came from a bar close to us, and so a couple, Jeff and Dana Connie, purchased the old Northwoods and reopened it, and brought some of those people over there. So we've got a lot of friends that work there, and they take good care of us there. They take great care of us there. So I am a little biased with that place because they treat us very well there, and we appreciate it. And they have great music, and they have great the deck that they put on that place is amazing out back for the summer. And we're just getting ready.
Yes,
the deck season's opening.
It's a little warm.
Yes, it's coming up soon. So. Yep. So we go to a place like that. I've gone to Decibels a lot out in Portage. That's one of the venues. They were great to us from day one. Joe out there, Joe and Robin have taken good care of us and let us come out there whenever we wanted to. Shout out to Decibels. I know they've kind of changed their model a little bit. They're doing more comedy shows, they do drag shows out there. They do music every once in a while now, so we don't see them as often as we used to, but we always love going to see and listen to music out there. It's a great venue. So yeah, it's dinner time, 6 o'clock window. As I said, there's categories. So like Catch, we like going to Catch. We like the food there. And it's kind of, it's not overpowering over your meal, and you can do that. Or there's been several places that have come and gone to. There's been places we would go to, and I won't mention their names, but they're places we enjoyed going to for meals, and then our friends were playing there, and we could hang out and talk, and then we may go somewhere else afterwards in the evening. So just depends what you're up for. And we live over in kind of Winfield area. We're technically Crown Point, but we live in Winfield, and there's Two Bills over there by us, which is a bar. You probably shouldn't know what that is.
I don't.
But there's a couple places near us that we like to catch music, and it's real convenient. So it just depends on the mood we're in and how much time we have and what we're doing.
Triway's out there a lot, aren't they?
Triway plays out there. They play at Gators next door. There's a lot of bands that kind of hit that. One of the first times I saw Craw Puppies was at Two Bills, it blew my mind that they got that many people packed in that little place, but it was a great time. So, But yeah, some of the places, like I said, we like the summer, we like the outdoors,
Yeah.
and that even before COVID, that was always fun to do. But now it's even more prevalent that most places have an outdoor venue. So, but we love it. We love it there, and hanging out in the bands they get through there are amazing. So.
Is there anybody is there any events or anybody coming up that we should look out for, I guess? Is that a thing that you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of fests coming up. I will say that. So, and I'm going to shamelessly plug again, is that, as you may have heard, I mentioned Northwoods. Well, we have a fest that we've been doing for the last couple of years. We started at Decibels out in Portage. We did the first one there. Last year we did a Region Music Fest at Northwoods, and this year we're doing it again. They were gracious enough to let us come back and do that, and they provide the entertainment. It's not us. My wife and I are independently wealthy and just throwing money around, but they do appreciate what we do. We appreciate what they do, and we partner with each other to do that. They're going to be hosting that, and I wish I had this pulled up. I know we've got the Mud Sharks or Acoustic Shark. I think it's the Mud Sharks are playing. We've got Dick Diamond and the Dusters playing on Saturday. We've got, I believe, Underground Prophets playing. We've got several other bands, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting. I'm going to have to go to my own pictures and page and stuff and look that up because we've got about 6 or 7 acts. And then on Sunday we have Chris Grove, who does the Sunday afternoons on the deck out there. So Chris has been putting all the lists together. He's got it ready, I think, for the summer. So they have music every Sunday afternoon out there on that deck, and it's a beautiful place to listen to live music. So, yep.
That's awesome. Okay, let's think about. Oh yeah. You'll have the list on your page, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
All right. So, and our page too.
Yep.
Oh, we'll link it, obviously. Okay.
You're going to link us off your page? Okay,
yeah.
good. Yep.
So then everybody can know. So then
Just make sure you let them know that they have to request to join, because if they click the link, they're not going to be able to get into it.
Yes, of course. If you're listening, you know. So what do you think that, as you've seen, the music industry, in this sense, grow, what do you think has, most changed, I guess, from,
this area?
Yeah, this area.
In this area, I grew up, I'm from Lansing, Illinois. My wife and I are both originally from Lansing. And our funny story, again, I keep mentioning Chad Clifford and the Crop Puppies, but I joke with my wife about she's got a crush on Chad, because she says, "Oh, I've been going to see Chad since I was in my 20s," you know. And Chad's been around for several years. He's been playing with the Crop Puppies for a long time, and so we both grew up at the the Lansing fests and stuff that we would go to, and there'd be live music and bands, local bands and bigger bands that would come from around the country. But we were just kind of both doing that, and neither one of us really knew each other real well when we were growing up. We grew up in the same town, but just met each other later in life here. But so we were going to fests and things like that. So what has changed, I would say, the media and the ways in which you consume music today are instant. You know, so that's a challenge for the musicians who a lot of them do original music, and getting it out there, it's both good and bad. You know, they can stream it, they can put it on the platforms, they can just put links out there, and people can go listen to their stuff. And so that's great. I have a collection. I actually have a playlist on my phone of all the local musicians that have dropped music.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I've got a whole playlist I play in my car on long road trips and stuff with my wife. We'll drive and we can hear people from back here, you know, when we're on the road and stuff. But yeah, what's changed to me, I think it was the old, and I'm not a musician again, so they can tell you better than I can. But the relationships with the bars and venues, there were certain places, there were negotiating of the price, and this place pays this much, this place pays that much, and we won't play there because, and that's okay. Every band's got their own rules and stuff, but I think they negotiate that, and I think there's a lot of push. There's a push for the musicians if you think about it from a standpoint. This is going to get deep here. Okay, so I get paid a lot more than I did when I started at State Farm, right? My raises go in every year. I get raises. A lot of these bands are still playing for the same amount of money they were playing for when they were in their 20s. So it's a hard business for them because their product hasn't increased in value yet. Everything, gas has gone up.
Yeah.
We all know that renting an apartment or buying a home now is ridiculously expensive. These folks are still getting paid about the same amount of money for a gig. So it's difficult for them, and some of them voice that a little louder than others, and that's okay. But then the venues on the flip side are having to weigh that out too, is that I have a business to run here.
Yeah.
And I'm only getting this many people come in. In the old days, I think they would have to bring people. Like that was kind of the deal, is that the bands were told you got to bring 100 people and you'll get this percentage of the door or whatever. And so there was a lot more pressure on the marketing for them. Well, now because of digital media and some of the stuff we do, the bands are marketed. You know, they don't have to go out and put posters up and do all the stuff that they used to do. So there's a lot of changes in the how they do it. But, you know, without getting too political into the money thing, I see it from both sides, and I struggle with some of the musicians I talk to about it sometimes, and because they have their points of view, and I hear them, and I understand them, and I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, and that's why I say God bless you for making music, because I don't know how you do it. I don't, you know, and a lot of them have day jobs or some, you know, because they need to, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge for them. Yep.
All right.
So.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's I think really what's changed is that there's a lot that's changed and a lot that's stayed the same. If you kind of get what I'm saying, is that it's a difficult model for them to get out there and get their product out there, and then the ones that have original music even have a harder time because when we go out, we want to hear things we're familiar with.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Well, they have stuff they're passionate about, and you don't always, you know, people will play new music and people will look around like, who is this? I don't even know who this is. Well, it's that artist letting you see a little bit of their, you know, their side and sharing that music with you. So I do enjoy it. I do enjoy a lot of the original stuff I've had. I've seen some things, and you know, again, I'm not trying to promote anyone in band or any individual, but just got to go see Shadows of Jupiter at Reggie's in Chicago. It's the first time being at Reggie's in Chicago, and Shadows of Jupiter is made up of a bunch of people from a couple different bands and friends that I know, and it was amazing. It was just amazing to see them, and they toured with, or not toured, but they played in front of 2 or 3 other bands that were brought in, and it was just a great show. But it's kind of cool to be able to do that kind of stuff, and to have. One of the guys, Colin Peterson, is a guy I went to grade school with. You know, and it's cool seeing him ripping up there on the stage now. I had no idea he played guitar. He's been playing guitar since I've known him, but I just didn't know it. And now seeing him later in life here, we're both older, and you know, we've got families of our own and stuff, and watching him up there shredding on the stage is kind of cool. So,
what do you think? Like, I feel like, what if you're deciding where to go? Like, what would be some like deciding factors on like where to go or like where not to go? Is that like preference?
We try to see every band. We do our best. There's a lot, and so there are some that we see more often than others. And that's a lot of reasons because we're close friends with them. We hang out with them on the weekends. We do stuff with them. So I don't feel guilty about going to see the same band over and over again. And everybody says, "Oh, you just support that band," and I'm like, no, I support my friends, and you're all my friends, but these are my close friends. These are in my inner circle, you know. Yeah, exactly. So I do enjoy going to see them, but so that's kind of a deciding factor. Is my wife and I will look at see who's playing and see who we haven't seen in a while, or if it's a place that we've been wanting to try. My wife keeps a list too of places we've never eaten in Northwest Indiana, and she's like, I want to try this place and I want to try that place, or we'll make plans to go to dinner somewhere near that venue, and then we'll go to the venue afterwards. So. So a lot of it just depends on. I'm married, and I want to keep her happy. So you know, it's like what Chris. You know, Chris has a lot of influence on this, even though she doesn't like to come out and tell me what she wants to do sometimes. It's a lot of it comes down to what mood she's in, or if there's something I'm very dead set on, I'll tell her, hey, I'm planning on going here at some point this evening. I want to see these people. Haven't seen them in a while, and so then we'll make that decision. But for the most part, it's joint decisions, and we talk about it over our coffee at our local Dunkin'. So,
All right. Well, that will wrap up. That sounds like a movie with. I mean, this has been great.
Yep.
That's
a wrap.
Yeah, exactly. The little thing.
Yep.
But thank you for your opinions on Star Wars and like all of that. That's been fun. I mean, I really enjoyed that because I always like to know other people's opinions.
You just wanted to see me uncomfortable by telling me I think both. I don't want.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
But
it's like you were looking in my closet or something. It's like I'm actually going. My cousin's getting married May 4th. May the 4th, if you know what that is. Okay. So my young cousin's getting married, and I am wearing my Sith robe and I'm bringing my lightsaber to the wedding. So because they're doing a Star Wars.
Oh, they're doing a Star.
Wedding,
That's
so
awesome.
It's going to be cool. And, So yes, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry
No,
for the hot,
it's good.
for my sidetracking.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, you're good. So thank you for joining us. But be sure to apply, and then you can join Region Music, right, on your Facebook page.
Yep.
And then you can keep up with everything that you've talked about and everything.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
obviously, we've talked about Crop Puppies like a few times now. So this is your favorite song, correct?
This is one of my favorites. Yep.
So-
by
yes.
the Crop Puppies.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So it is Slayer of the Slave to the Puppeteer.
Slayer. Wow.
Yeah,
Slayer. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So Slave to the Puppeteer. So thank you for joining us. And
Thank you, Stella. Yep.
this has been That Sounds Like a Movie, and this is Slave to the Puppeteer.
All right.
Bye.